Great. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. And thank you, Rosanna, of course, for all your work to get us to this point. Rosanna will be the moderator. And mostly, I thank you for taking the time to taking time to work on yourself, to explore. And the idea being that there's exploration, then maybe some introspection, maybe some insights, and then what action can come out of that. So mostly, I thank you for being here and taking this time. And I'm not able to advance. There we go. As I mentioned, the webinar purpose, it's about exploring and looking for these insights and things that will help us in our personal growth. And really important and kind of a foundation of Well Today, the wellness business that I've done for 15 years now, is this iceberg model of this iceberg model of wellness and well-being. And so you'll see what's above the waterline is the state of health, our physical, mental, emotional. And then, well, what creates that? Well, our lifestyle choices, things like, our psychological makeup, how we're doing, our motivational level. And most importantly, and not an accident, is that the most important foundational aspects are things like spiritual and meaning and life purpose and things like that, that then kind of filter up and influence how we do overall these other steps that get to our overall state of health and well-being. So that's why we're focusing on spirituality. So really briefly for myself, I'll just talk a little bit for not even a minute, as I mentioned, I've done wellness workshops now for 15 years. I was very involved in triathlons it's been over 40 years now. And then wanted to share that and the nutritional information and the motivation. Then for about 6 years, I've done applied brain science workshops, all about personal development. A really important book, and I really recommend this, is by Mark Gober, The End to Upside Down Thinking, which for me really opened up the world of spirituality, and that there's so much more, I believe, that we don't see. And I'll share a quote. You may have heard this one, and it as a question, that are we humans having a spiritual experience, or are we spirits? Someone just Udo just, or are we spirits having a human experience? So interesting, and that book is terrific about some of the examples of things in life that we really can't explain, and yet are part of our lives. Something even as simple as just knowing, having a sense that someone's watching you, and you turn around and sure enough, like there's things that we don't really understand. And then intentional communities has been a big part of my last several years, and I'll share a little bit more about that. So this is adult learning, and it's not, hey, welcome, Udo. And so this is not,
Hey, Paul.
good to see you. And so I'm not going to talk a lot. It's again, adult learning, and you'll be interacting. So we want to start right off here with a dyad. So Rosanna will put you in a dyad, and then you'll have the same partner for an activity that we'll do later. And so please answer these questions, or just share your name and where you're from, and then you'll just have 2 minutes each. What brings you to this webinar? And then something that most people don't know about you. And I encourage you to go big, maybe share something that you don't often share, but maybe take that risk to the extent that is comfortable to you. So Rosanna, if you'd put everyone into groups. Yeah, so it's an even number. And so you'll be able to have 2. So see you in 4 minutes, everyone. I hope that was helpful, mostly to get to know your partners, also for the next item or the next activity. Okay, so for the agenda, we just did the welcome and intro, and next we're going to do an activity, which I'll share about in a minute, a little bit more about my story, and then share some information about retreats and courses, and a retreat that I'm leading in July, and kind of ways to connect with Damanhur if you'd be interested, and then question and answers. about anything, within the webinar or about the retreats and courses or anything about Damanhur, anything, from the webinar. So for the activity, I'm going to share the questions in a minute. And the idea, it's the activity is going to be, we're going to take about 20 minutes for total for this activity. And it's centered around spirituality. And I'll share something that really resonated for me in Damanhur was when I learned, they're a spiritual community. So of course the question comes up, well, what does spirituality mean in a Damanhur sense, and even for yourself, when you hear spirituality, well, what does that mean? So in Damanhur, it means finding the divine within each of us. And for me, that really resonated. And I've been going for citizenship now, and I think that's really a special way to hold spirituality. Again, that's just for me. So the questions that I'll ask you to answer are, first you'll get to journal, and then you'll take time and share it with a partner, is what does spirituality mean to you? And then the second one is, how could the concept of spirituality, again, however you define it, forward you in your life? So what I like you to do is, please spend about 3 minutes, and I'll call you back in a minute, and answer these questions, write them down, and then we'll come back, and then you'll do a dyad with a partner for 8 minutes. Okay, any questions? All right, so see you in 3 minutes. Great. All right, welcome back, everyone. So a question, we had the dyad and the sharing. Would anyone like to kind of give an overview, insights, and how that experience was?
So, Udo, do you want to share first, or shall I?
Whatever you like, Michaela. You can.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So we were talking about spirituality and how it makes an impact on our lives. And I was just sharing, as a person or as a man who has been very religious for like 30 years. I have been in different Christian groups and stuff like this, and I have somehow lost my way of being religious, but still feel myself very spiritual. But what I was saying, what the main point was, is actually that I feel that being spiritual can also be easily abused by bringing you away from yourself, from your own mind, from your own heart, from your own character. And I try to interpret it now these days that I like to get myself to know myself better, to feel myself better, to have this connection to my inner wisdom and to my inner feeling. Because usually, like if you make big decisions in your life or also small decisions, I am pretty sure that pretty much every time you have the solution already inside of you. You can feel it if you really go deep and get in touch again with your inner intuition. And that feels very beautiful to me, and I'm very grateful for that. And I was also saying that to me, it also starts all with self-love, really feeling self-love, because I have known for myself for basically my whole life that I am a good person from a point of reasoning from my head, but not from my heart. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't sense it. And then I have come across to a method, to something that really I could, for the first time in my life, just feel it. And since then, I can feel it, and it's getting stronger and more and more. And that's the way I can love myself more, or start loving myself, start really feeling empathetic. And the same way I love myself, I can start to love others more, and take time for others and really seeing them, really listening to them. And to me, this means a whole new world. And I'm so grateful and so happy about that. Yeah, I love you guys.
Thank you, Udo.
And it deeply resonates with me what Udo shared, because for me, spirituality is like a compass, like an inner compass. It really helps me to navigate in this complex situation. And also it helps me to take the responsibility for my well-being, and that I don't have to do it on my own because I'm supported by all the other beings, the spirits all around me.
Great. No, thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate you sharing. Uh, so I'll keep rolling here. Again, thank you. I have a couple slides here, just to some of just my history is importantly along the lines of values and lining up our values with our actions is. And back in 2022, I heard a podcast and the speaker said, like something not judgmentally, and have a look at your life and say, hey, am I and my values and my actions aligned? And it hit me like a ton of bricks right away. It's like, no, I really don't want to be doing my 40-hour week job, and I'm doing it because I want to make sure I have enough money and I'm comfortable. And it was like, no, I don't want to work for another 3 or 4 years. And I want to go do the wellness workshops and the brain science workshops. And so 6 months later, I did it based on that and that wonderful question. And so then in 2023 was exploring intentional communities, one in the US, and then Tamara in Portugal, and then Damanhur in Italy. And Damanhur really kind of hit me over the head. I just loved it. I loved the people. I loved how purposeful it was. I loved the way they defined spirituality, which we talked about. When I say purposeful, they have the temples of humankind, but also now a project going forward for an Indigenous Peoples Center. So Indigenous peoples can be honored and their wisdom kept. So I just loved it. So I last year spent a month there, and then this year in 2025 we'll be spending about 3 months, and then very synchronistically it was suggested that I offer retreats there. So I jumped in with both feet, and that's kind of how I got to this point where I am now. And so I'd like to take a minute and share about the retreats that I'm offering. So one's early July, starting July 5th. And then the second one is the end of July. So July 6th, 9-day retreats. And there's a bunch of information on the website, and I encourage you. I do have a handout that actually, Rosanna, if you would put that, when you get a chance in the next couple of minutes in the chat. We have a link to a document that has some of this information and the link, so you can access this easily. And so the purpose of these retreats is a focus on you and the things that are important to you, and your life purpose and spirituality, and how do you hold that, and kind of getting into deeper some of the questions we talked about, and values and what's next. So you see that information there for purpose. And it's all very carefully curated to provide the environment for transformation. And I don't say that lightly, but for transformation to occur. And then plenty of time for integration and relaxing too, with times in a hot spring spa, and hiking in the Alps, and going to Turin, and visiting the Egyptian Museum, and this magic evening tour. So all these things that are ideally will build on each other, and for that possible transformation. And also pre-retreat in sessions. The beginning will be reading the book and just having some sections of the End to Upside Down Thinking book, and talking about that. And then at the end, we'll have a session on Zoom to check in, how are we doing, and look to close up the retreat. But it'll be like a week and a half after we've left. So the link there has the information to the webpage with all the information on the retreat. I also want to share that Damanhur has online courses, and on the handout you can click on those. A ton of information. Their founder, Falco, was amazing. He actually passed away 10 years ago. So information online courses, and then the website for Damanhur. They also have other ways to visit and stay in Damanhur. So I call this your move. This is not a game of roulette. It's chess, and we want to relax and have fun, but also be intentional about it. So I ask you, what's next for you? And then the question, what will your personal transformation bring to your life and then to the world? So with that, do you have any questions about anything in the webinar? Any comments? Maybe think about the retreats for anyone?
Yeah, you said it's a program of, I think, 9 days, is it?
Yeah.
Do you have is there a particular program already for every day?
Yes, yeah, we all have it laid out, and on the website, the link is will be on the handout. The program is all laid out. On the website, I don't have hour by hour, but I have a list of the things, the main things that we'll be doing. Let's say days 1 through 3, and then 4 through 6, and then the ending. So it is all listed on the website.
Okay.
And about the accommodation, is it on site or is
Yeah.
it outside of Damanhur?
Yeah, great question. It's within Damanhur, and Damanhur is actually spread out a good deal. It's a community of 400 to 500 people that are spread out in nucleos, which are communities in the area of actually families in the area of they're called families, 8 to maybe 14 or 15 people, and they're spread out in this valley. From one end to another, it's like 25 minutes. Now, there are 3 common areas. It's called CREA, where they have some businesses and a organic grocery store, and they do a lot of the art for the temples and a cafe. So there's CREA, there's Damil, which is the capital, and that's where the outdoor temple is, and some nucleos and in other parts of Damanhur and spirals, for example, like labyrinths that you can walk. And then the last one is the temples themselves. So I share that to answer the question because where the accommodations are close to CREA, and they're all really pretty close. Damil, CREA, and then the temples themselves are pretty close. So the accommodations are 10 minutes away maximum from each of these. And for example, CREA, it's only a several minute drive away. Thanks for that question.
Thank you.
I actually have a question that was submitted to us. The question was if people would get the opportunity to hear from other Damanhurians about their life or how life is in Damanhur.
Yep. Great question. Yes, included in the program, and you'll see this in the description on the website, is meetings with people within their nucleos. So actually having lunch with several people. So you'll certainly meet the instructors, but what about meeting, so to speak, everyday Damanhurians? Because you'll actually have some meals with them, and they're kind of baked into the program.
Amazing. Well, what I just wanted to comment that I like very much about the program is that it's not one of the one-day visits that's super quick, and it's not one of the 1 month-long visits. It's just the right amount of days to, especially for people who have work and all that, or or can't be away for so long for whatever they're doing. So it's
Right.
great.
Yeah. And thank you. Yeah. And that's the idea, because 9 days is sufficient to really have time for the presentations by Damanhurians, visits to the temple, going to the hot springs, going to hike in the Alps. And I don't want to gloss over, some really wonderful presentations by Damanhurians on spirituality, on spirituality in Damanhur, on what's called selfic technology. There's so many things, and one very special one, they're all pretty special, is a gentleman that specializes in communication, and he'll be sharing about communication and wonderful insights that I've had many presentations I've attended on communication, and this was like no other. So when I made it a note, I'm like, boy, I would like him to be a presenter in the retreats. Any last questions? Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
I thank you all so much, and I'll repeat what I said early on is my hat is off to you, so to speak, for you taking the time and working on yourself and starting with ourselves and looking in the mirror. So thank you for being here, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Have a
Thank
lovely
you.
day, everyone.
Thank you.